luck, vitality, blood tinge, all considered to be weak stats across the Souls games. However, amongst them all, one stat reigns supreme as the true worst stat of all time: resistance. Raising your defense against both physical and fire damage, as well as increasing the time it takes for a status effect to proc on your character. It doesn't sound too bad, but the defense you get from leveling up the stat is made pretty much redundant by both armor and the defense you get by leveling up literally any other stat. And there are infinitely better ways of dealing with status effects, making the community unanimously agree that this is by far the worst stat in any Souls game. Now, over a year ago, I used to do videos trying to make PvP builds with only 99 in one stat work. I stopped doing this series because I wanted to focus on other things, but recently I felt a calling to return to form and finish what I started. So, screw it. Let's try to PvP with only 99 resistance. The rules for this challenge are pretty simple. To make things balanced, I'm going to play as the deprived class, making all my stats other than resistance level 11. I know that technically Pyromancer is true level 1, but I think it'll be more interesting this way and will give me a lot more options. Which also leads into the second rule, where I'm going to try my absolute best to avoid relying on Pyromancy, due to its overpowered nature. But if things get too impossible, then I'll just let this rule go. And ultimately, my goal is to get at least 5 kills on the same setup. Which might not sound like a lot, but considering that online activity for this game peaked 7 years ago, it's a lot easier said than done. Now, what makes this really difficult is that having 99 in resistance puts me up to level 94, which is a very high combat bracket allowing me to matchmake with near meta builds. So, me with level 1 stats will be facing up against players that can very consistently 1 or 2 shot me. So I'll need to keep this in mind the entire time I'm making my build, while also having a very limited selection of weapons I can use due to my low level. The first weapon I decided to try out was the Jagged Ghostblade, a very popular weapon amongst low-level PvP, with it being wieldable by almost any class while causing bleed buildup. It has the curved sword moveset with this awesome R2, and it can do this. Naturally, I've also paired this with the Grass Crest Shield for stamina recovery, and while I'll try not to use it, I do have a Pyromancy Flame on hand with Great Combustion, just in case. As for armor, seeing that most people can one-shot me, it doesn't really matter what I'm wearing as long as I can light roll, so I just kinda combined random stuff until it looked good.
Nice.
Introducing 99 res only. Common if you fought him, by the way. With Jagged Ghostblade in hand, I traveled to Ulasil, used my cracked red eye orb, and found out extremely quickly just how perilous this challenge was really going to be. I want to get something out of the way quickly. I'm not a great PvPer in Dark Souls, but I don't think that I'm terrible either, and I can usually win against your average player, and even with the other 99 only builds, I was able to do pretty well. But this was just something else. I could not, for the life of me, kill anyone. While the Jagged Ghostblade was fast, against players with decent armor and HP, it barely scratched them. 60 damage from a two-handed R1. That is horrible. I might as well be playing with the broken straight sword at this point. And even though it has innate bleed, I just couldn't get it to proc at all. It became clear that the Jagged Ghostblade was just not gonna cut it. Which leads in to weapon 2, the Reinforced Club. It dishes out solid damage, especially when combined with a resin, and like the Jagged Ghostblade, it comes with bleed buildup. With new confidence, I took the new build to Ulasil, and yeah, this is still garbage. For one, the damage you do just isn't enough to justify the speed of the weapon. Even doing the powerful R2 jump attack with Gold Pine resin only deals 280 damage, which is pitiful. For context, most people have well over 1000 HP, meaning I'd have to do like 5 of these attacks successfully in order to kill them, and that assumes that they don't drink Estus, which fully resets my progress. Since I have to play so cautiously, I can't get too many hits in at a time, which makes the bleed on the weapon practically useless. I tried and tried, but I just couldn't get it to work. It's clear that if I want to go with heavy weapons, I'm gonna need a setup that can deal a lot more damage. Enter weapon 3, the Blacksmith Giant Hammer. It has the same moveset as the Reinforced Club, but with more range and damage, which includes its innate lightning damage. But I knew that sticking with the same build still wasn't going to be enough. No, I needed a way to kill my opponents in one hit. So, what's an item that doesn't care about armor, with the potential to massively boost your stats, that doesn't have any requirements? That's right, the Dragon Torso Stone. By using its special ability, I'm able to knock back opponents, and then for a few seconds, my attacks do 25% extra damage, and it looks awesome. I know I said I would try to avoid Pyromancy, but at this point I was getting pretty desperate, so I decided to add Power into the build. A Pyromancy buff that when active gives you an extra 40% damage to all of your attacks with the cost of slowly draining your HP. Once again, I returned to Ulasil, more confident than I'd ever been before, and this is how it went. Oh, why did I not act on that? Oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, it went pretty much just as well as all the other attempts. The jump was hard to land, and even if I did land it, it still wasn't doing enough damage to one-shot my opponent. At this point, it really felt like all hope had been lost. The hardest part of this challenge isn't having low HP or stamina, although that does suck. It's having such a limited variety of weapons. Any fast weapon is pretty much out of the question because even though it's quick, you just don't do enough damage. Slow weapons get you more damage but end up leaving you super vulnerable after attacking, and don't even think about trying to block anything with your weapon. If I were fighting other soul level 1s, this would be completely fine, but I'm not. I'm fighting players whose health bar is like 5 times the size of mine. But the worst part is that after you've been slowly chipping away at your opponent's health and avoiding their attacks, it takes one single Estus flask to undo everything. God damn, One thing was made perfectly clear to me, and that was that I wasn't going to get anywhere unless I just bit the bullet and resorted to Pyromancy. I know some people are gonna be disappointed, but I can only wait 15 minutes just to be killed instantly so many times before I begin to crack. Black Flame was my main Pyromancy of choice, doing the same damage as Great Combustion and also doing a ton of poise damage to stop people from shield camping. In case I ran out of Pyromancy, I held on to the Giant Hammer in my other weapon slot as it's still my highest damaging weapon. After a bit of getting used to, I figured out how to make the build work and was finally able to get some solid kills. I feel like there's no point explaining how it went, so here's the 5 best kills I was able to get. So, can you PvP with only 99 resistance? Well, kinda. If you're facing a competent PvPer, then absolutely not. But against your average Souls player, yeah. But only because of the way Pyromancy works in this game. I mean, you can still use regular weapons, but you're gonna have a really tough time. Thanks for making it to the end of the video, and if you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers, and it'd be really awesome if we could reach that before the end of September. Thanks again for watching, and hopefully, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.